RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What's up, everybody? What's up? Hi, my name is Tara Devlin. How's it sounding? How's it looking? My hair looks a little strange. All right, my name is Tara Devlin. We meet here every Friday at 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me see where you guys are. There you are. Hi, guys. Hi, Errol. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Ed. Nice to see you, Mike. Nice to see you, JD. The chat room is filling up. I'm already getting an error message from YouTube. I need to change the video resolution. It's saying, why? The current resolution is blah, 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 which is not... Okay. I'm not sure how to do that. I don't think I could do that while the show is on. I'll have to do it off the air. Whatever. A lot of technical shit always, right? Hopefully it won't affect the feed and we can continue to have our show. All right. We meet here every Friday evening at 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/cfchannel/Tarabuster. If you're listening audio only, come on over and hang out in the greatest chat room in American history. And the show is rebroadcast at 6 p.m. on the Progressive Voices app on Sunday. And then I also have other things, other shows. The Tara Show at the Political Voices Network every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I was corrected by one of the listeners that I've been saying it's not Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. I get confused because of daylight savings. And now, I don't know. How's my hair? Hold on. It just looks a little weird over here. You see? We're always our own worst critics. But let's see. Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern, okay? 2 p.m. Eastern. And... yeah, whatever. Political Voices Network. I'm doing a lot of videos over there too. Tara, I have another one called Devlin versus the News. Just more videos. And I want you to go over there and follow and do all that stuff too, if you can. I want you. I want you. I do. I want you to. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for always being a great man, a great person, making the world a better place. And I hope all is well. Look at this fucking hair. You see? I shouldn't have even started with that shit with my hair. Okay, what else? Oh, yeah, become a patron, please, at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, so I can keep the show going and growing. All this shit does take money, and... You know, I'd like to sleep every now and then. I'd like not to end up on the streets. You know, that's what we say. I'm going to be on the streets crying, I had a liberal podcast. All right, guys, where do we begin? Hi, JD. Yes, JD is lucky enough to be from England, or in England right now. He's in England. He's at a safe distance. And fucking hair. You see what I'm saying? I gotta stop. And I feel, England in my heart. I have to tell you, I feel it's very annoying to me that my grandmother came over here. I wish I didn't sound like this. I wouldn't sound like this. I'd have a nice accent. I'd be looking at this shit show and going, wow, it is fucked up over there. It really is. And yes, I hope that people are waking up, as JD says on the chat, because, well, this Saturday, this is what we're going to talk about. I have more things to talk about, as always, and it's not even funny. Yes, because, yeah, I do hope people are waking up. I do hope that because this Saturday is No King's Day, and I hope that becomes a regular holiday when we get to the other side of this fascist dictatorship hellscape, I will advocate for that. I do hope that we remember No King's Day, because Traitor Trump is he is a king. And well, one good news is that there might be thunderstorms in D.C. on Saturday, which will interfere with his tin pot dictator parade. I mean, fuck him. Okay, it's going to be a lot of salty language tonight. If you're delicate like that, I guess, I don't know, go. I mean, I'll see you later. Don't go away permanently. I want to play some videos to begin. Okay. Okay, if it is my show, I guess I can do that. Let me see. I have so many things to talk about, like Senator Padilla being thrown to the ground, and the Republican lie that they settled on in real time. We could see the propaganda developing. It was like they were workshopping it live right in front of us, before our eyes, on their fake fucking fascist Fox News. And yeah, now they're the victims. Hold on. Yeah, let me just do. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Already, here comes trouble. Why didn't I put him in the room? You know what I'm talking about. Fuck. We're talking about Junior. Jeez Louise. Already? I should, maybe I'll go and put him in the room. He's getting very needy lately. I don't know what it is. He just wants to be on my lap at all times. And I don't mind, but sometimes I need my lap, you know? I need it. But I love him, and that's what I say to myself. He's not like, I'll say, "God, you're so annoying," but then I'm like, oh, he's not always going to be here. So I love him. I don't want to think like that, but I have to, because I'm a pragmatist. I'm also a pessimist and a realist. And I will miss him very much. I don't even want to think like it. Let's have, I mean, he's like 15 years old. We could have him another 5-7 years if all goes well. Right, honey? If you eat your special diet and don't fight me over it. I love you, Junior. I love you too, honey. All right. Here we go. Nobody's going to tune into the show with just me humming, because I'm trying to find the fucking video. See all these videos I have prepped? Oh, here it is. Here's when I want to start. Look at this shit. This is what's going on in DC now. Practicing. Isn't that embarrassing? Wow. Practicing for the Tin Pot Dictator Parade. Isn't that disgusting? I don't know. I didn't feel a sense of pride. Oh, look at our military. Don't you feel red, white, and blue? Veins? Those red, white, and blue patriotic blood running through your veins? No. I just felt cringe, embarrassment. It's very embarrassing to be an American nowadays. And that's the other thing that I will never forgive the voters, the Trump voters, for. I will never forgive them. I will never forgive. I will never forget. And we shall never, I hope all of us will never forgive and forget, because there has to be an atoning for what they've put us through, what they've done to us. You know, before Traitor Trump got his wish for a military parade, what was going to happen? The army was still going to have its 250th birthday, but they would celebrate like a normal part of a democratic republic, a free constitutionally limited democratic republic. by having, modest traditional celebrations that were focused on customs and ceremonies rather than these ostentatious public displays right out of North Korea. Because that's the thing that Trump doesn't understand, and he is too small. He will never understand this country. That's why he hates it. And I wrote an article about this over at the Political Voices Network, that he, it's basically he is too small. He's too small to understand America. Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, this strength, this military. Why can't I talk? Come on. This military parade isn't about strength. It's about pageantry, the flailing pageantry of a man-child who is desperate, so desperate to look strong, like a little baby, who stomps his feet in the supermarket. That's what this is. But the fact that he uses the men and women in uniform as props is infuriating to me. It's degrading. It's really unacceptable. He doesn't respect the military. Just look at the way he treats them. He treats them like his little playthings to move around. Now you go to California. Now and we're going to get to, I guess maybe we should, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about. What went on at Fort Bragg. And, of course, the senator being thrown to the ground. And primarily the Republican response to that. And I think there's a lot to say there. But how dare he? I mean, this is another crime against the nation, as far as I'm concerned. This fucking military parade. All of the money wasted. These are the freaks that always go on about money. That's my taxpayer dollars. I don't want to spend my taxpayer dollars on what? Healthcare, opportunity. How about the people who they just fired? Fresh from firing hundreds of thousands of Americans. Some of them, many of them veterans, hobbling the bureaucracy that we should expect from a shining city on a hill. Right? Rolling back decades of leadership in medicine and science and wrecking our once good name around the world. Now we are throwing this piece of dirt, a 200, what the estimates are 250, no, wait, excuse me. It's up to $45 million, including cleanup. Now, how many of the workers that they fired could still have their jobs? These people have set us back decades. And everything that he touched turns to shit, of course. You see what's going on in Israel now. Israel is under attack because of Traitor Trump. Because of Traitor Trump pulling us out of the Iranian nuclear deal. We had Iran under control. They were being monitored. They were being monitored with cameras and regular surveillance. They were their capabilities to complete a nuclear weapon, thanks to Traitor Trump, went from over 10 years to weeks, because he's a piece of dirt. And I have to say that, what they're doing, this couldn't be more advantageous to America's enemies, of course. Putin and the dictators of Earth are they can't believe how lucky they are, how happy they are that so many Americans are dumb as fuck and voted for this. But I even as I say that, I think, well, it's propaganda. Maybe they're not dumb. They're dumb enough to fall for it. They're dumb enough to buy the propaganda. They have been incessantly, systemically propagandized for decades. So, shame on them for falling for it. But also, shame on them shame on the Democratic Party for not pointing it out. Okay? This is the problem. You know, people keep asking me, what are the problems with, you know, what would you do? Listen to the show. You guys do. That's why I do the damn show. That the problems are money and politics and the corporate media. Right there. Two of the intertwined rocks around our necks. That's what they are, as they're throwing us into the river. And because these people aren't coming up with this shit on their own. They're hearing it from right-wing media. And I called my representative yesterday. I was on the phone with somebody. They actually picked up. Representative, it used to be AOC, but since the census, I was redistricted, and now I have Velasquez. But she's been around a long time. I had her before. But, and I spoke to somebody, and I was saying, you know, the things that I say on the show, that people are sick of the Democrats not fighting, but every time they talk about red states, they got to say poorly run red state. Poorly run red state, right? You got to hammer it home. How are these people going to know what's fucking good for them as they keep voting for their own demise unless we tell them? You know, not sit there, Nancy Pelosi, and say, Republicans, take back your party because America needs such a strong Republican Party that's done so much fucking good for America that nobody could ever tell us what that good is. Sorry for yelling in your ear, but yeah, they've done so much good. And Nancy Pelosi just wants to sit back and let them do nothing, right? Let the Democratic Party will do nothing but sit back and hope the Republicans take back their party? Well, what are you going to do in the meantime, Nancy? Nothing, I guess. Nothing, I guess. No, okay. I don't know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but and we've talked about this before. You know that this baboon on this military parade is going to stand there giving salutes, giving his effing salutes. He's it's stolen valor. These are stolen valor salutes. And he's deliberately blurring the lines between civilian command and military, civilian command of the military and the military strongman. That's what he's doing, because he can't, nowadays, it will look unseemly for him to simply don a military uniform like the 20th century fascists that he loves so much. So instead, he steals valor. He gives his salutes because he never earned that salute. And putting that aside, he shouldn't give a salute because he's not a member of the military. The founders made the commander-in-chief a civilian. So what the fuck is he doing? Saluting. Because he's supposed to be a civilian. And civilians put their hands over their hearts. And last I looked, he's a civilian who's never served anybody but himself in his rotten, useless waste of DNA life. But I just want to show an example, actually, of what I'm talking about. Let me see. Do I have it in here? Let me see. Hold on. I should have these things better prepared. But sometimes I'm just talking about things and I don't remember. I don't think I'm going to talk about it. And it goes, and then we go there. Anyway, well, as I'm looking this up, that's why I need a goddamn producer. That isn't a cat. That isn't a cat. Fucking shit. Where the fuck is it? Boom, boom. Hold on. Be right back. Oh, I know what I could do. I could play it off the screen. There we go. This is the article I wrote for the Political Voices Network. No kings, no clowns. Look at this.
We're
is
in
Reagan.
keeping with the
so
final.
This is Ronald Reagan giving a Medal of Honor to a, what's his name? Roy P. Benavides. Blah. So, here's at the ceremony.
Traditions of the military service.
We'll just go to the part where, okay, he puts the Medal of Honor over his head. He ties it, puts it on him. Watch. See, salute. Look at you. Anybody see a salute? Sorry for those. Applause is very loud. He is saluted by the service member. And what does the president do? He returns with a hand over his heart. Because he's a civilian. But, Trump has got his look at me, Daddy Vladdy parade. And he's going to stand there. Cadet Bone Spurs. Weak as fuck. Embarrassing us, as always. And, no one will say anything about it. You won't hear that on the corporate media, that's for sure. Because this is the problem. They don't point out the problems. But, I don't know. All right, where do I go from here? Let's talk about the other thing I want to say is that, make no mistake, Trump is waging war against the United States. That's why he sent the military to California. We all know that he's full of shit. There was no unrest. There was that the local police couldn't deal with, and that's the truth. A judge eviscerated him in a ruling saying, what we see what you're doing. You want to be dictator. And there's no insurrection. There is no rebellion going on. So you have no right to activate, to federalize the National Guard. But he's waging war against the United States. All, make no mistake, that's what he's doing. And I was thinking about this. I should have asked Malcolm Nance when he was on the show, maybe next time. Because, Putin and the rest of the dictators of Earth can't stop laughing, pinching themselves at their luck. But they, because Trump, in the matter of 4 months, has crashed the economy, right? He crashed the stock market. He's decimated America's name around the world. He's really fucked us for generations. He destroyed USAID, our soft power, all over the world. And on top of it, he's killed hundreds of thousands. They're accounting the death toll at impactcounter.com. And this doesn't bode well for America's place in the world, because he doesn't understand what real power is. He's that small. He's that tiny. He thinks the bully in the schoolyard is strong. So, you can never explain it to him. America, as written, as entrusted to us, is too big for him, just like it's too big for the Republicans in general. That's why they have to shrink it to their petty, small size. But he's also going after the 5th largest economy in the world right now. So he's going after the blue states. It's not going to stop with California. And so you have to think that, the fascist brain drain, what he's doing, people aren't coming here anymore. Our European allies have warnings against traveling to the United States. And if you watch any media from any other parts of the world, in Australia, England, they they're not only warning, they're not pleased with the United States. Look at what that cop did to that Australian journalist. He literally took aim at her and shot her. If I had it somewhere. I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure I have it anyway. Whatever. I can't go looking for it yet. But, so, no one could do more harm so quickly than Traitor Trump. And you gotta wonder. Well, I don't really wonder. I think that's what's happening. Of course he's got to destroy the 5th largest economy in the world. And then he's going to come for the rest of the blue states that keep his poorly run shithole red states afloat. And it's all about diminishing the United States. How much damage is this baboon going to get away with before he is stopped? The midterms they can't come quick enough, but you think, this is the thing. This is why the Democrats need to get a clue. They need to watch this show. Not just, and others like it, okay? And the Tara show. Because this is not a drill. We are on the cusp of losing our democracy and sending the troops into California. And I was watching, let me see if we can go on Twitter first here. We'll play a clip of Mike Johnson in a minute, but let's see. National Guard, maybe? Because I just saw a video of Marines arresting a civilian. What? Well, there's the real insurrection. Let's see. Marines detain. Yeah, citizen. Oh, look at this. U.S. Marines have detained a U.S. citizen in Los Angeles. This is the first time in known U.S. history that U.S. Marines have been used in this way to detain an American without the Insurrection Act being invoked. And you guys know, I was in the National Guard. I was in the military. We're not trained in laws. We're not trained in how to properly effect an arrest of a civilian. You're not trained in how you build a case. That's what the cops do. They have to do things by the book, unless or the case is thrown out of court. We all saw Law and Order. We know how it goes. But the military doesn't have those restrictions. What the fuck is going on here? Traitor Trump is blurring the lines between, constitutional laws, authority, his constitutional authority, and dictatorship. He's overstepping, to put it mildly. Overstep. It's like, to say that, it sounds really quaint, doesn't it? Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's him saying, I don't take responsibility. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Oh, what the fuck is that like that? It's all smushed, but we'll play it anyway. The point is what he's saying.
There are several No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What are they called? No Kings?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved.
A
king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking
What mandate? The California mandate. It's like what Kristi Noem was talking about in her press conference where she arrested a sitting senator, saying that they were going to go into California to get to remove or nullify the socialist government? Fucking who the fuck are you? There's no socialist government, period, in California, but it is the 5th largest economy in the world that keeps your shithole state afloat, the one that you pretended to govern, where you dragged a puppy and a goat into a gravel pit and shot it dead for no good reason, except it annoyed you. And who the fuck are you? I mean, it's called freedom, right? Elections, states' rights. You don't get to tell the other states what kind of government they get at the barrel of a gun, you fuckers. This shows me that they really do not understand what this America thingy is all about. That's it. They hate America. I wish I was wrong. Hold on. There's more of this clip here. Here comes the pièce de résistance.
He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off, and after years we get it done.
Yes.
No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all. Thank you very much.
What? We're not a king. We're not a king at all. Thank you very much. What are you talking about, we're?
Years we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all.
Are you fucking King Charles over here? We're? This is the royal we? We're not a king. You're not a king. You're one baboon. Right, we're not a king. The royal we. We're not a king. Who calls themselves we? What president calls himself a we? Oh, now all the babooneries, all the flying monkeys will find, Obama. We're all blah, blah, blah. But, the difference is Obama was not a... Oh, but also, I'm talking about Obama, thinking about how, yet again, remember how the Republicans, our entire life, this is what the Democrats have to start saying. We have been dragged through Republican manias my entire life. Back in Obama days, how they were always crying and whining and bitching and screaming and farting about how Obama was a king. He wants to be a king. Right? Oh, he thinks he's a king. All the time. I had to hear it all the time. These fucking liars. These hypocrites. He wants to be a king, the Republicans would say. And then we had to hear them whining and bitching and going on the House floor about it. And remember, there was because Obama was the first person with darker pigment that became the president. And there was a school in Newark or somewhere in New Jersey that... the kids sang a song about Obama. Barack Hussein Obama, President of the United States, or something like that. And the filthy fascists went absolutely apeshit over it. No, this is right out of North Korea. If only they were sincere. This is why I hate them so much. If they were sincere, I might be able to endure them somewhat. I might, if they were really the Christians they purport to be, if they were really the strict constitutionalists they pretend to be, if they were really the patriots they fucking claim to be, as they're waving their made in China flags in your face to just annoy you, of course. Not because they love America. They don't know anything about America. They're confused by America because everything that makes America great, that's what they hate. They hate the diversity of America. They hate the nation of immigrants. They hate the nation of laws. I'm joking. They hate they hate e pluribus unum, especially out of many one. What kind of socialist shit is that? Out of many one? That's the motto the founders gave us. But the Republicans had to change it. In God we trust. Really? If only. If only, you effing hypocrites. What kind of God? Which God? It's like they got, their God is a demon. Ain't the God that they pretend to worship. Certainly not that Jesus who gave out health care and hung out with all the misfits. That's for sure. Oh, boy. There's no bunch of cretins more dangerous, more evil at this moment in our lives, and I'm not kidding, than the Republican Party. That's for sure. Because they have more power to do more damage than any other cretin on earth. There's really no more dangerous cult. Yeah, how they would go on about Obama wanting to be a king. He thinks he's above the 3 branches of government when he would sign any executive orders. That was after 4 years. That was in the second term. So it was after 6 years of him trying to work with the Republicans, making me bang my head against the wall nonstop. Because remember that? He always thought that they were sincere. This is the problem with mainstream Democrats, I suppose. And, I'm sure Obama's a very important and intelligent man, clearly. And, in this racist-ass country to become the president, he had to know some things, right? But when it came to really knowing what the Republicans are, it seemed to me that he thought too much of himself. I don't want to say he was naive, but I think that he thought that he could reason with them as someone who was capable of straddling many worlds. And he would say that too. He would say, well, I'm as comfortable in a boardroom as I am in a housing project talking to people. And that's the truth. So maybe I really do think that he thought that he could reason with these baboons if he spit their policies back at them. And that's what he did. Remember when he went to have this debate with them and about healthcare, about the healthcare, we need healthcare. We need universal healthcare. This is fucking bullshit. We have the worst healthcare. We pay the most. We leave millions out with bankrupt millions, needlessly kill thousands, and we pay double the twice as much as the nearest most expensive system. And we rank dead last on all positive measures. How much do we have to hate ourselves to continue with this effing evil system? But of course, it makes a few people very rich, so Republicans have to protect it. But he went to them and had a conversation. It's me against Obama against the whole Republican caucus. And of course he wiped the floor with them. They never did that again. And but I really think he went, and it was shown on TV live, and he really made his case. And of course the Republicans have nothing to stand on because they're always so fucking full of shit. And, protecting this evil system that everybody hates. I mean, we know everybody hates it, look at what happened when, that healthcare executive was shot in the street. Nobody was like, oh, boo-hoo. They were like, gee, shit, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. There was no tears. There was no, oh, boy, we really lost a good one there. It wasn't like the whole world was mourning, like the death of Princess Diana or something. It was like, wow, well, fuck off to hell, bitch. And don't shoot people in the streets. That's not good. But Obama thought that he could reason with the Republicans. And of course, there's no reasoning with them. And then after 6 years, he started signing executive orders out of frustration because they were obstructing him at every turn. And then these Republicans would waste our time crying and farting and wheezing and burping about how He wants to be a king. Obama wants to be a king. But now they literally have a king. And I saw that on the chat, guys. Thank you, Redfoot and Jim, for being being the great moderators of the show. Sean Ryder, Trump should be a king, he writes. Well, Sean Ryder clearly is a traitor who is confused about America. He hates America. Like I'm saying, thank you for jumping in and proving it. You want a king? Then go away. Go to Saudi Arabia. What are you doing here? Just because you need a big daddy to trickle on you and save you from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place doesn't mean that you get to install your tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator, man, baby, convicted felon, goddamn serial bankrupt con man into the Oval Office that he stained and left the first time with 1 million dead and the worst jobs record since Herbert Hoover. It's so true, Redfoot. MAGA can't help but prove us right over and over and over. They really hate this country. How many times? I'm not trying to be, just hyperbolic, slinging pejoratives over here. I wish I was wrong. I want them to be reasonable. And that's what I was saying. If only they were everything they pretend to be, that they say they are. If only. If they were patriots, they wouldn't be doing this shit. They would be as appalled as we are at this illegal, unconstitutional, baboon grabbing power. An 80-year-old veteran was arrested for protesting at the Capitol. I see at the chat there, Kim says. Let me look this up. Trump should be a king. Your parents must be very proud of you, Sean. Or maybe they're baboons like you. I don't know. And that's the social contagion of the maggot. They're very sick people. And of all people, too, they want that thing to be their king. Not anybody good, right? That's what makes it worse. If they got the most benevolent, most successful, most learned, compassionate, empathetic person that really helps people, you might be able to understand. Oh, okay, I could see. But this is a baboon that destroys everything he touches. This is a freak that is a documented con man. He's somebody that is incapable of anything that makes America great. He hates everything that makes America great. This is a guy that has a greed-centered black hole of need and succubus of attention, a cesspool where a personality should be. That's his personality, greed. That's it. Everyone who knows him hates him. Everyone who gets to see him in action knows what a moron he is. So, you want that to be king? What does that... how much do you have to hate yourself? How little do you think of yourself? But that's the maggot. And sometimes I have to ask myself, this is the problem here, that many Americans, they just don't deserve living in a free society. They don't deserve it. They want it. They want all the benefits of civilization, but they don't want any of the responsibilities we have to each other. So they're incapable. That's why, education is important. You got to train people young. You got to bring them up to understand that democracies fail, republics fail, that, this thing is a very fragile thing that many people lost their lives to create and entrust to us. And it may not be perfect, but it's better than every other system that humans have tried. But there's somebody that's just someone that wants to be a host from which parasites suck profit and discard. No one hates maggots more than Trump. Remember that. No one hates them. Like, no one, the con man doesn't love his marks. Trump knows what stupid people maggots are. If you have any respect for people, you don't rob them. You don't lie to them. You don't peddle snake oil to them. You don't pour into their empty heads hate and malice and division and lies and disrupt their serenity. If you love, or if you really are sincere in serving your constituents, you don't rob them of their limited lifespan by telling them that, oh, here's the fake news, everything is rigged against you, meaning me, I'm standing in the way. They want to come for you, but I'm standing in the way, so they're coming for me. Because I am a fucking criminal that has a lifelong history of criminality, and it's catching up to me. But they're coming for me because they want to come for you. Yeah, they would come for you if you also were someone who called up the Secretary of State of Georgia and said, I need you to find me the votes to win. Or sent a mob of traitors to beat cops and defecate and urinate in the halls of the Capitol that stopped the peaceful transfer of power that was good enough for George Washington. Or you falsified business records to cover up the friggin' payment to a porn star. You underwhelmed when your third trophy wife was home recovering from childbirth, but you didn't want to get it out in the campaign, so you made an in-kind campaign friggin' document. You made up documents so you could cover it up as a campaign contribution, thereby also violating campaign finance laws. This fucking prick doesn't know how to do anything right. Because doing things right, doing things by the rules, doing things that make you, that force you to consider the country and the environment and the people you share this blip of time with, that's too much work for people like Traitor Trump. He's lazy. He don't want to do shit. That's why he don't want to work. He wants to watch TV. What is everybody saying about me? And that's it. That's why he goes, bring it to the States, give it to the States, everything to the States. It makes it that when he heard that's what Republicans are all advocating for, except, blue states that keep this country afloat and keep their shithole red states afloat, then he's like, oh, that's brilliant. I can just say, give it to the States. He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know civics. But he can say, give it to the States, because that gets him off the hook, and it makes him seem like he has some kind of thoughtful political ideology. When the only thing is more. Give me more shit. Feed that bottomless gaping pit of greed and need, that rapacious hole where a personality should be. Put more shit in there. Or other people will figure out just how inadequate he already knows he is. He knows what he is. That's why he's like, oh, when they hit me, I hit back 10 times harder. Who cares? Oh, they called me Taco? That's because I went up in a number, and then I came down, and then I bit. All he had to do was say, all right, very funny. Next. No, but now it's become a thing. Because he's a fucking child. There's absolutely no redeeming qualities, but okay. Speaking of no redeeming qualities, let's go on to Kristi Noem, the dead-eyed, puffy-lipped, puppy-killing, goat-murdering sociopath, pretending to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. So I'm sure you saw her bullshit unfold in real time. The press conference. So I guess, I don't know, do I have to play this Padilla? Oh, there's many things I have here. Many things. Here's, well, we'll play it in case you didn't see it.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on
Unbelievable.
your
Look at those goons. Unbelievable. Don't you feel proud, Americans?
Hands on your back. Hands on your back.
If you let my hands go, I'd put behind my back.
Yeah, I mean, how could you put... He's trying to get down on the floor. As they're going, hands in my hands, grabbing his hands. What's he supposed to do? He's supposed to get slammed to the floor in his face. Oh, and then you hear the fucking fascists going, no recording in the hall.
I do not know. There's no recording allowed.
No recording allowed. No recording allowed in this hallway. Don't you see the signs? That's the hallway of no recording, everyone. Yeah, no recording in the hallway.
I'm not a member. There's no recording allowed. I understand.
No recording. There's only recording here, right there at the floor. Just no recording in the hall. Don't you see? There's always... that's how it is when you're at a press conference. There's only recording on the podium. No recording anywhere else, and especially none in the hall. No recording in the hall. Well, we saw the lie unfold in real time. The puffy-lipped, goat-killing, dead-eyed sociopath cosplayer went on Fox News.
This man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself.
All of that was a lie. Of course, Fox News, I mean, they first tried out that he did not identify himself. Wait a minute. Where's the audio on that one? Is that one broken? Maybe that's why I have two there.
Secretary. Well, he was never arrested. And he, nobody knew who he was when he came into the room creating a scene. He was removed from the room, and yes, they started to put handcuffs on him when he finally identified himself, and then that was stopped. They said he wants to talk to you. I said, sure, I'd love to sit down and visit.
Sure, bitch. Hold on, this is Tara Devlin. Become a patron. Why did I say it like that? But I want to play another angle. Everything that she just said is a lie, of course, she said. And we saw the lies being workshopped in real time on Fox News. It was, well, he didn't identify himself. And then and this is right out of Fascism 101. I want everybody to understand that. How we're going to see how it develops. First, he didn't identify himself, and we heard the puffy-lipped, dead-eyed sociopath, puppy-killing, cosplaying, goat-murdering sicko go on about how he burst into the room. And because first it was he didn't identify himself, and then sure, we would have loved to talk to him. He just didn't say who he was. It was all this big misunderstanding. Then I guess they hadn't coordinated their lies. But then, you know what happened, and I heard this I was watching, what do you call it, C-SPAN, and one of the reporters said that the Republicans had all convened a meeting, an emergency meeting of their, I don't even know what you call it, I guess you call, what's a gaggle of Republicans? Didn't we come up with a name for this once? We called it like a vomit or something like that. A vomit of Republicans. They all went behind closed doors to figure out what their message was going to be, and then they came out, and I guess they landed on that Padilla had attacked this puffy-eyed, dead-eyed, this puffy-lipped, dead-eyed, puppy-killing, goat-killing, sociopathic bitch. So, and he burst into the room. He lunged at her. It was just madness. Madness abounded. Except we have the video, but they don't care. You see, the Republicans weren't behind closed doors going on or going, wow, this is fucked up, guys. Look, we have allowed this baboon to take things a little too far. Enough is enough. We really got to stick together and stop this. This has got to stop. You know, America, how will we ever face our grandchildren if we allow this country that so many fought, bled, and died to create and entrust to us, if we allow it to fall to this autocratic baboon, this horrible person? We all know who he is. This is the same guy that sent a mob to try to kill us. And now we're carrying his water? History will not be kind to us. No, it wasn't anything like that, where they all started breaking down in tears, right? You know, they finally, oh, I can't take it anymore. And let's just put an end to this. This has got to stop. No, it was, they went with the fascism 101. They're the victims now, okay? And Padilla should be censured. He should be arrested. Padilla is the victimizer. He's the oppressor. Pay no attention. Don't believe your lying eyes. It was Padilla. Thank God the cops, the goon squad was there to drag him to the ground, because who knows what could have happened. Who knows who could have been hurt. But we'll get to that in a minute. Here's the puffy-eyed, dead-eyed. Why do I keep saying puffy-eyed? Well, you can be puffy-eyed too. The puffy-lipped, dead-eyed, and you can be dead-lipped, I suppose. Dead-eyed, puppy-killing, goat-killing sociopath. Prove me wrong there, anybody, and I'll stop saying it.
Country.
Okay,
and
this is the other angle that I got from C-SPAN of the event, where Padilla supposedly ran in and just screaming and yelling and causing a disruption and lunging towards this, whatever this plastic-looking woman is.
they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person.
See? Anybody here? I mean, if somebody had burst into the room, we would have heard it. Burst in screaming. But he must have been running pretty damn fast, because as soon as she notices, she keeps on going, right? Do you hear him in the background?
Insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person.
Right? Oh, he lunged at her. How far away is that? Where's the lunging? Is that like, let's see, about 7 yards maybe? Right? 10 meters? And then he is pounced on. But we don't hear any bursting in the room. This is the other thing. If he burst into the room screaming and yelling and then proceeded to lunge, he must have been really fucking fast, because we didn't hear anybody burst in the room. She only turned when the goons attacked him and dragged him out of the room. But I mean, there's the door, you see, like that far. So he must have just like ran in at full speed, got all the way across the room, screaming and yelling, before anybody did anything. You see what I'm saying? This is a lie. It's another lie. And what's very concerning, though, is I got to stay off Twitter. I got to tell you. I go on Twitter to get videos and stuff, but then I find myself arguing with maggots, because I can't let their stupidity stand. And then there goes my day. I hate that. I have so much work to do. It's like ridiculous. But I have to stop that. I'm just telling myself I need to stop engaging with maggots. They're lost cause. But they're all over Twitter, and they say things like, he should be arrested. You can't attack the Secretary of Homeland Security. I don't care who you are. If you're a senator, I don't care who you are. You can't do that. You can't disrupt the meeting and scream and yell and then lunge at the Secretary of Homeland Security. Like she's some kind of royal figure. Well, they're all, I guess this is no kings. But they're just full of shit. Everything about them, everything they do, everything they say is a lie. That's why I have to wonder about maggots. How much do you have to hate yourself to vote for these people? You really got to hate yourself or other people. You know, we know it is what they hate other people. That's what it is. They're very, they don't have the maturity, the decency to function in a free democratic society. They're like, oh, men kissing, trans people going to the bathroom. And so sure, I hope you can eat your hate when you lose your job or you don't have your health care or, your granny is back living in the basement with Alzheimer's because they've cut her Medicaid. But hope it don't, just eat that hate, man. Tell Granny you hated trans people. Sorry, Granny. Instead of if they were mature enough to function in a free democratic society, all they have to do is just mind their own business and go on about their business. But they can't. Because doing that would, minding your own business, caring, just going about your own business, live and let live, leave people alone. That takes a level of maturity that they don't have. So they have to vote to fuck people. And they really fuck themselves. That's why. I mean, I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of, and that's why we're here, because Democrats are weak as fuck. Not all of them, but, the leadership, Chuck Schumer, definitely. Nancy Pelosi, definitely. They gotta go. Enough is enough. We need people who can fight. Who know how to fight. Who aren't afraid. I was talking to a friend right before the show. Everybody calls me and they want to talk about the same things we talk about on the show. And, oh yeah. Gnome looks like a walking plastic surgery menu. Redfoot, you are correct, sir. Let me see. I have a picture of her. Gnome. Let me see. I gotta find that picture. Side by side. Let me see. I gotta find this. She was looked like a normal person at one time. Actually, we could probably do it this way. Where's Google? Where's the Google? See, it doesn't matter. Look at this shit. Why is this picture? Like, you can't go anywhere without fucking Trump up your ass. I go to Google, and I gotta see this. Why is this picture in the background? Did I put that there by accident? Fuck is Google? I don't want to see that baboon every minute of the day. Let's see. Christy Gnome. No. Oh, I can't type. Before. Yeah. Yeah, right? I mean, what's wrong with her? She had a nice face. Oh, it's too small. Come on. What's wrong with her face? She had a nice face. Oh, it's cut off. Shit. Her face was normal. I mean, I know she's always been a sociopath. Why can't... Let's see. Why is that so weird? Something's up with this eCam. Move over. Mendoza. I mean, why? How do you... What? You hate your face. You hate your face. That's very sad. You know, really, that's what it is. It's self-loathing. She doesn't look normal here. She looks sick. She should be embarrassed. This is somebody that hates themselves. You get it? They really do. This is like a normal person, and this is somebody who screams self-loathing. She looked at herself in the mirror and thought, what? I want to look like a plastic doll? I want my face to be as dead as my eyes. Doctor, can you help me with that? My face is too animated. I need to look like as dead as my eyes, Doc. Don't worry, Christy. I can help with that. She's fucked up, man. They're all fucked. They all need to simply get the help that they're desperately, that is so clear they desperately need. It's so clear. If only they got the help, you know what I mean? Then the world would be a better place. They would be happier. We would be happier. Everybody would be happier. We wouldn't be putting up with this shit. So, all right, let's go on with Mike Johnson. This closet case, mother effer. Come on, E-Cam, help a girl out here. I don't know why it does that. Always like, but what can you do? All right, this is Mike Johnson. So after they came out of the vomit, where that's what happens that's what it's called when a group of Republicans get together. They had settled on the old fascist tactic of, I know you are, but what am I? Look anywhere with it throughout history, all fascism 101 is the oppressor claims to be the oppressed. Okay? They pick up the mantle of the oppressed. So they get the moral currency of being oppressed while they're carrying out crimes against humanity. And this is a Republican way, too. They can't help it. Like I say all the time, in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. They just can't help it. It is the truth. I wish I was wrong. Because if they weren't fascists, they wouldn't go for this tactic. The Democrats wouldn't meet behind closed doors about something incredibly offensive and emblematic about the decay and destruction of democracy that they are enacting, let's just say, right? Or of anything. The Democrats just wouldn't meet behind closed doors about something that one of their fellow Democrats did and come up with a response of that they're the victims. It just wouldn't happen. You know what would happen? They would be calling for their Democrat, whoever it would be, if it was a Democratic Secretary of Homeland Security, they would be calling for them to resign. That's what the Democrats would do. But not the puffy-lipped sociopath. Here's and the closet case. Here's what they came up with.
Mr. Speaker, did federal agents go too far the way they treated Senator Padilla today? Was that a bridge too far?
I saw the same video, a very brief
You
video
did?
that I think many people did. I think the senator's actions, my view is it was wildly inappropriate. You don't charge a sitting cabinet secretary, and everybody can draw their own conclusions. You can see it's a heated debate here.
You see that? You don't charge a sitting secretary. And you heard the onlookers, liar, liar. And his little shit-eating grin. He knows he's lying. You see, it's a heated debate here. That little sly grin gives it away.
You can see it's a heated debate here.
People heckling you here, Mr. Speaker?
You don't charge a sitting cabinet secretary.
Wow.
And everybody can draw their own conclusions. You can see it's a heated debate here.
Absolutely incredible.
I'm not going to respond to that. Look, let me just, hold on, wait just a second. I think the American people can draw their own conclusions. They saw a senator acting like wildly inappropriate.
A senator, wait, is that what you saw? You saw a senator acting wildly inappropriate? You see these, there's no shame in their fascist game because that's who they are. They do this all the time. In every instance, you know, when any previously privileged group lose some of their absolute power over us, right, due to social progress, they're there to incite resentment, to tear people apart. That's all they know how to do is cause chaos and tear things down that other people build, tear people apart. Oh, that's all they know how to do is cover their evil with lies. They love inciting resentments. That's all they do. There's never an opportunity for them to unite this country. Never. They wouldn't take this moment to unite this country. Instead, they lie and they tell their fucking dumbasses that they're the victims. Oh, it's the Democrat. And you know, they believe it. Because I've been on Twitter and I've been seeing it. Their sickness. These people are sick and they're manipulated, and shame on them. Because, you know, no one's asking them to storm the beaches of Normandy. No one's asking them to stand up and overthrow King George. Right? We are asking them to do a little bit of adulting sometimes and act like a citizen in a free democratic society. Try to participate in the very minimal way by understanding who's lying to you, by figuring out the lies yourself. The do your own research crowd. Do your own research. But they can't seem to do their own research. And that's what the Republicans they're aware of. You know, Mike Johnson knows that. He knows that when they get into their vomit behind closed doors, that they'll say, don't worry about it. We just say whatever the fuck we want to say. And our Russian-funded influencers will parrot it. They'll get the dumbasses, the stupids, that Traitor Trump hawks all their, you know, all this fucking shit to. These people that slit their own throats at his command, that they'll just, you know, tell them what to think. There'll be no critical thinking here. Don't worry. We don't have to worry about this. Don't worry about it, man. Who cares? And it gets worse.
Leave it at that.
But what about the way he was treated by those agents?
What I saw was agents asking him to quieten down so that the.
Is that what they did?
They
said, "Quiet down, sir." No, bitch. They dragged his ass out. They stormed him, lunged at him, and dragged him out of the room, even though he was screaming, "I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have a question for Christy fucking Nome, who has her goddamn fascist shock troops in my state without any authority. Who the fuck is she? Get the fuck out. We don't need you. We don't want you. You're causing chaos. You're arresting innocent people. Stop. Leave us the fuck alone. We don't want you here. We don't want your poorly run red fascism here. We don't want your poorly run red state fascism. We're a successful state. Oh yeah, not say we don't have problems, but we have, you know, we have a successful state where people want to live, where people come to. People all over the world, they don't want to go to your state. No one's dreaming of going to your state. Or maybe one or two. I don't know. South Dakota, is that a mecca? Maybe they want to see the Black Hills. That's nice. But that's far away. They want to go there by themselves. They don't want to bring any maggots with them. No one wants to be anywhere near maggots. No one with any, you know, no human at least. Who wants to be around a maggot? I think we saw this article last year. We were talking about it. There was an article there was a survey done by some real estate community or group. Then they had a magazine, real estate magazine for real estate brokers. And it said that the majority of Americans would rather live in a haunted house than next door to a Trumpanzee. Yeah, I'd rather live with ghosts. Fucking ghosts going bump in the night, man. Because when a goddamn maggot goes bump in the night, God help you. It's just so tedious listening to them whine and bitch and fart and scream and moan about the latest conspiracy theory. Trying to talk them off the ledge. All the damage they do to their communities. We've seen the videos. Go on YouTube. Them ringing people's bells. Bing, bang, bing, bang. Take your sign off your lawn. Or the one who said, my cat was stolen by my neighbors the cat was in the basement. That's the bitch that had Traitor Trump. They're eating dogs. They're eating cats. What a fucking disgrace. What a time to be alive. What a time to share the same air with these horrible people. These people that don't deserve to live in a free democratic society. Then go away. You don't like America? Move. These are the love it or leave it crowd, right? Show me where they love America. They're always chanting, USA, USA. I saw that at that Kennedy Center. Of course, there were some maggots there because Traitor Trump invited them. So when the crowd started booing, the maggots started going, USA, USA. Who? How dare you chant USA to a tax-cheating, draft-dodging, wannabe dictator con man who sent a mob of traitors to defecate and urinate in the halls of the Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power. How dare you chant USA to a traitor? Trump is a traitor. Make no mistake, guys. Oh, it gets worse. Let's go. Let's continue.
The secretary could continue her press conference. He refused to do so. What were they supposed to do? They have to restrain someone who is engaging in that kind of behavior. They moved him out of the room.
How dare you?
A sitting member of Congress should not act like that. It is beneath a member of Congress. It is beneath a U.S. senator. They're supposed to lead by example, and that is not a good example. We have to turn the temperature down in this country and not escalate it. The Democrat Party is on the wrong side. They are defending lawbreakers, and now they are acting like lawbreakers themselves.
How dare you? Look at that sly smile. You see it? He knows he's evil. Evil. There's so much there. We have to turn down the temperature in this country. You see, you know what? That's the last thing he wants to do. That is the last thing. If he wanted to turn down the temperature, he could start by calling the Democratic Party by its actual name, don't you think? That's what drove me up a wall. None of the crack press corps will even challenge him on that, you think? Nah. We don't have to play the rest of it because I will have a brain aneurysm. Because it really just goes on saying the same shit. That Padilla should be censured. That he should know how to behave. He's a sitting senator. He should set the example. When the future looks back, this is going to be one of the clips they play. And they're going to say, wow, what a Nazi. What a filthy, fascist, lying Nazi. But Mike Johnson, he knows what he's doing. This is the guy that goes on about, I'm a real Article 1 guy. You know me, everybody. When he talks to the press, I'm Article 1 all day, all night, up and down. You know, I please my wife and I scream, Article 1, here it comes. But no, he's not, as he's abdicating to the wannabe dictator who calls himself the royal we. You know, we're not a king. Pisha, we're not a king. I wish I were a king. Just like Hitler was chancellor, right? He was just a regular old chancellor, making Germany great again. And what he did on his first false flag on the Reichstag fire, he set his shock troops out to arrest 5,000 of his political enemies. You know, the Social Democrats, the Communists, anyone who ever stood up to him. And then what do you do, right? What do you do? What do we do when this monster does that here? Because clearly the Republicans are a lost cause. They're on the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side of America. They are not redeemable. And they don't care. They want this country to be destroyed. They are participating in the destruction. They hate America. Look at that flag. He's got, see the nice little fucking flag pin he's got there. Oh, they sure love the flag. They love the wave the flag, the stars, the eagles. But they hate America. They hate everything about this country. They not only hate America, they're confused by her. That should be on my headstone, too. They really do. And I'm looking at the chat. Anybody, if you can prove me wrong, please do. Please do. Because I wish I was wrong. I want to wake up and be like, wow, oh, wow, I was misguided there. They're really great. And, you know, and one thing I was talking about with my friend who called earlier, you know, she's going to No King's Day, and I hope we all are. Hold on. Is that the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show? Oh, my God. We got another part of the show coming. So come over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. We will win. Check out the Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday at the Political Voices Network YouTube channel with myself and Tara Dublin, and the Political Voices Network Substack. I'm doing a lot of writing over there and videos. Support if you can. I know everybody's always e-begging, but we gotta do it. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Hope everything is good. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We are. We stick together, we win. I'll see you soon. Yes. And so I was talking to my friend, and we were discussing, you know, what do we do? What do we do? Well, the message. We got to get the message. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I believe in it. You know, the American Revolution started with the pamphleteers. It started in the Enlightenment, of course, but that, you know, people sharing the news, sharing the ideas that we didn't need. We don't need a king in an aristocracy. That's how it starts. That's why these people are so twisted and lost, because they're being lied to. Just like this fucker is lying to them now. And so we were just, for example, we were discussing, the Democrats, and my friend was sharing her frustration about how, the Democrats don't know how to fight, who's talking to these people. They are listening to, of course, like the advisors, of course, who are, I guess, living in an alternate world where things are fair and square, I guess. I don't know why they're so afraid. Well, you know what I do? The Democrats, I guess the consultants are telling them that they are, they don't want to alienate the disaffected Republican voter. Okay, that's what they think. There is never a time where Democrats don't learn the lesson that they should be more like Republicans, except in, I guess, their messaging. They don't follow them in that, though, right? The Democrats suck at messaging, but the Republicans are good at it, of course, because they stay in lockstep. And the reason they're good at it is because they got nothing else. They're not trying to govern. They don't believe in America. Nothing says that more than what we're witnessing. They hate America. They're tearing it down. They're dragging us back to the system the founders overthrew. And, for example, and we talked about it before, what's his name? That guy, the one in the wheelchair. Remember him? Who is such a, oh God, whatever. But when he lost his seat, he just fucked off and moved to Maramoron. He moved out. I don't know if he moved into Maramoron, but he moved to Florida, and he just left, like, after the election, even though he had months still to serve his term. He just left it all behind. And the person who beat him, the Democrat who beat him, wasn't coming into the office for months. So therefore his constituents had no constituent services. And that means that all the Madison Cawthorn, thank you, Redfoot, in the chat. That means all the people that maybe he was trying to help, like all the, if you want to go to a military academy, you need to go through your local reps and things, and or the things you might need. There are things that need to get done in the community, and you need your congressperson. There's some fucking hair in my mouth to do it. And what the hell? Hold on. I don't want to swallow a hair, but how did that happen? It's not like I'm licking a cat right now. But so yeah, he fucked off to Florida and he left it behind. So that's what because and the other thing is, whatever. I don't want to talk about Madison Cawthorn, but he was one that said that the majority of his budget goes to comms. That says it all. That it doesn't go to constituent services. It goes to comms. Yes, hairball alert. Sometimes they just hawk up a hairball during the show, as you know. So, yeah. And anyway, all right. Where were we? Oh, yes. So my friend, what do we do with these fucking Democrats? I know what to do. I wish they would listen to the show and they could get a clue. Hopefully we'll get some Democrats on the Tara show. Hopefully we've been trying to get some on so I can give them these ideas. And they have to, like the poorly run red state and not backing down, because the Democrats, but I don't think this is going to happen until Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are retired, frankly, because they're the ones holding everything back. But anyway, who gets on your nerves? Me? Mike Crawford, does she get on your nerves like she does to me? Am I getting on your nerves, or is that Christy Nome? I hope I'm not getting on your nerves. I get on my own nerves, that's for sure. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. So I brought up the example of Brett Baer, for example. Okay, when Harris was being interviewed by Brett Baer, and he was being rude and interrupting her, yelling at her, and talking over her. Of course, they would never. And when Traitor Trump was on there, he was genuflecting and licking his balls. But of course, they would never do that to him. And Brett Baer asked Harris, so half the people want Traitor Trump. They want to vote for Traitor Trump. Are you calling half the American people stupid? And she said, no, I would never call Americans stupid. And my response is, why not? Okay? Not just why not. You don't call them stupid. This is how you put it. You say, no, I wouldn't call them stupid, but I would call them misinformed. Yes, that's how you do it. I would call them misinformed. What's wrong with that? And then he would go, what? And then you say, listen, this network I'm sitting on, they've done numerous studies. It makes its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all. It has the lowest budget for news gathering, actual news gathering, of all networks. Why would that be? That's because you don't do news gathering. You just get what's off the White House fax machine or whatever, and you get a text from the White House press secretary. And also, you were recently hit with the largest fine against the media. Well, not a fine. It was a judgment, a judicial judgment against a media company for lying to its viewers. So, yeah, I don't call them stupid. I call them misinformed. And this network is misinforming them. Because they don't offer. Republicans have nothing to offer the American people. And I'm not saying that just to be mean or just to be political. I'm telling the truth. All they offer the American people are hateful, divisive bills that tear the country apart while they're funneling money to the top. You don't understand. I have to fight these people every day to keep the benefits, to keep the infrastructure of democracy vibrant and where everyone can have a decent life. Just health care, education, all of these things, all of the pillars of democracy, Republicans are trying to destroy, and you're giving them cover to do it. So, no, I don't call them stupid. They're misinformed. Can you take... what's wrong with what I just said? And trust me, the American people, even some in the red states, would break through. Because people don't... they want a fighter. They want someone that's going to stand up for them. But, the Democrats can't be all things to all people, and they certainly can't be all things to the 1% and, the working class. And in my opinion, they have a duty to inform the Republican voter that they're being played. And you don't do it and be like, wow, my Republican friends are just simply wrong here. No, they're coming for you. They're coming for your money. They're coming for your mama. They're coming for your kids. And I got the receipts. Here's the chart. Here's South Dakota. Here's Iowa. Here's Kentucky. Here's West Virginia. And go on. All of the red states, they're at the bottom of everything that actually makes America great. But we Democrats, we don't leave people behind. We're the patriots here. We're the ones carrying the mantle of the founders. We believe in democracy. We believe in e pluribus unum. We're not embarrassed about that. We love that we're a nation of immigrants. That's what makes us strong. So in that way, we're patriots, and in every other way, we don't leave people behind. We don't believe in leaving them behind on the battlefield like Trump does, leaving people, cutting the cord, cutting and running every time. But we don't leave each other behind on the battlefield of illness, education. We invest in each other, science. We believe in government. We believe that when a veteran calls the VA, there's somebody to pick up the phone on the first ring. That when our seniors call Social Security, same thing. I don't get it. That's the country we deserve, don't we? And that's what Democrats are fighting for. What the fuck? You leave out the cursing, but take it. Dems, take it. Oh my God. Michael Andrews, thank you for your super chat. Oh my God. You are doing fine, Tara. I love your show. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I need that. I need that boost. Thank you. Where's my applause? Thank you, Michael. Very, very generous. Where's the damn applause? This is a standing ovation. Thank you, Michael. What? Suzanne is going to sleep now. Good night, everyone. You're allowed. You're allowed. All right. So our last thing I wanted to go over. I know. I just blew through the whole show. I want to play this fucking thing that really, as somebody who wore the uniform, it makes me want to fucking chew glass. Here's Traitor Trump at Fort Bragg. If you haven't seen it or heard, this is all because of everything else that's going on. This at one time this would have been it, This would have been a week, 2 weeks of stories, and the goddamn president would be impeached. But he went to Fort Bragg, and he basically held a political rally. It is a goddamn another Rubicon crossed. Now, when I was in the military, we get training on this shit. You're not supposed to. You don't wear your uniform at a political rally. Now, I know this pig. No offense to pigs, this draft-dodging parasite never wore the uniform, neither him or any of his wasted human DNA lineage. But he, he went to them. He was on a military base. But believe it or not, and for a little... Oops, hold on. They set up a maggot merchandise table at the base. Can you fucking believe it? Now, when I was in the military, we were instructed, because we had people come to the base, and sometimes, you had performers come, you had speeches, you had things like that happen, and you had to attend, but you would get a briefing, not to, this is how you behave. Don't let me see you behave any other way than as a soldier of the American Armed Forces. I don't want to see, any other kind of, don't embarrass us because you're the ambassador. That's what we were taught. When you wear the uniform, you are an ambassador of your country. That's why what he is doing is so disgusting on so many levels. He knows nothing about the military. I don't expect him to, because he's a baboon. And he's a draft dodging piece of shit, and who's never served anything in his life. And it is, yes. Jim says, I thought this was very scary. It is scary. We should be afraid, and it should be dealt with. for those who don't know, the baboon held basically a political rally. It's enough that he goes to West Point and he speaks at these other military whatevers at military bases, and he goes on about how Biden is his dummy and you know, how everybody sucks but him. But it's another thing for the troops themselves to boo governors of blue states, to boo the press. This is another, line, another step closer to fascism. Now, these are the people, when he sends them into blue cities, how far away from, booing you get to suppression, oppression? Because this is what the Republicans have done to us. They have turned America into, us against them. And we're all Americans. They have fucking done this on purpose. The American fascist can be deliberately recognized. Wait, how did Henry Wallace say it? The American fascist can be recognized by their deliberate perversion of truth and fact. They exploit every fissure of disunity. I'm trying to remember. I should know it by heart by now. Us against them. Who's them? We're all Americans. This is why this didn't start with Trump. I've been talking about this for years. How George W. Bush campaigning Massachusetts liberals, New York liberals, California liberals. No Democrat ever campaigned like that. Oh, we don't want to be like those Tennessee yokels, those West Virginia yuckles, those stupids in the freaking Iowa or whatever. Right? No. There are no red states or blue states. There's just the United States. Well, yeah, hopefully. But it's a one-way street. This is what you get, Merrick Garland. This is what you get. Jerry Ford, right? When you pardon people, this is what you get, General Grant. When you let conservatives get away with their fucking crimes. And we get here with you let them get away with their crimes, and we're here. This fucker. That's what I'm talking about. They are deliberately dividing us every opportunity. Blue states are the target. Democrats are the target. That's why these maggots, they won't vote for Democrats. I mean, being a Democrat, in their eyes, thanks to propaganda and Russian-funded influencers, being a Democrat is tantamount to treason. When the reality is, they're the ones who are committing treason, who are tearing the country down, who are tearing the country apart. I would call that, in the very least, political malpractice. I've been saying that for years. It is even in the first maladministration, the way that they would, just tickle those racist funny bones and get people all over the country thinking that a caravan was coming to slit their throats. When no, nothing is happening. No, you notice how all of a sudden then you hear nothing about caravans. Everything is a political opportunity for them. An opportunity to divide, an opportunity to hate. And we're always headed in this direction. So he wants America's military to attack the American citizen. That's what they want. They want civil war. Well, fucking who needs one? Just secede. Maggots, do us a favor, please. We won't stop you this time. I know there are good people in the red states too, but that's why the Democrats, you better get your shit together. If you think that, then stop misleading them. 2, stop acting like the Republicans have anything to offer them. Dems. Because every time you're like, oh, this is a bipartisan, we're a bipartisan. See, the Republican said this, a Republican did that. You're aiding in the deception. But the fact, let me just, did I even play it? No. Here's these disgraces to their uniform booing the military. I mean, booing the media.
News for the fake news back there, the fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, look at them. Look at them all. Oh, yeah, what I have to put up with. Fake news. What I have to put up with. But they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. I think it took them a little by surprise.
Shut your baboon mouth. Here's them booing Governor Gavin Newsom.
In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles.
Boo! They didn't even need prompting for that one.
They're incompetent, and they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists.
Unbelievable.
They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is.
That's what it is. You can find that at the merch table outside. You know, mass deportations now. Incompetent? Gee. Traitor Trump would know, but, you know, because everything is opposite day, it's bizarro world in Maggotville. The successful states that keep the poorly run red states afloat are the ones being under attack. Oh, they're incompetent. You couldn't lick Gavin Newsom's balls on a good day, Traitor Trump. Not that I'm like a big Gavin Newsom fan. He's annoying too because of his delusion. Enabling maggots. That's kind of annoying. But, you know, he's a competent governor. But, you know, this baboon doesn't know shit. He doesn't know. I mean, everything is a fucking performance. That's all. He plays president. He doesn't know. I mean, you know, when I saw this, I thought, wow, oh my God. It is frightening. But George Washington is rolling in his grave. What happened at Fort Bragg is not just a disgrace. It's a warning siren blaring about the end of American democracy. Soldiers in uniform, let's remember, they were hand-picked, okay? They were hand-picked for their political leanings. He didn't want any normal people behind him. He wanted maggots. Not only they were picked for their maggotness, but their physical appearance as well. He didn't want any fat soldiers. But the fact that they stood there like the props they are, when the Republicans hate the military. I'm so sick of this shit too. Republicans have never done a single thing for the military, for veterans. When these assholes, if they have regular army and they want to make a career and, you know, retire, good luck, booby. You're nothing to Republicans. You're a pawn, you're a prop, you're a backdrop. You're just meat to take a bullet. And you have no life. You're nobody. You're just a piece of shit that they can move around on a board, and then they hope you die so they can make a big show of how much, you know, patriotic you were and blah, blah, blah. And you won't take any benefits. You won't become a useful eater. I mean, useless eater, excuse me. Useful. They're the useful eater. They're the only things useful. The only eaters who are useful in their minds. If they could, they'd turn you into Soylent Green. Republicans hate veterans. They hate the military. It's all a fucking show. It's all a show. So the fact that, I mean, this is so anti the Constitution and military regulations. These soldiers should be disciplined, but instead, nothing will happen to them. George Washington is rolling in his grave. This is, it's a partisan circus. They were screened for their political allegiance and their appearance. And so Traitor Trump can go on about, lies. He can lie. Oh, and this really got me too.
For a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
How dare you? No, it doesn't matter.
We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change.
Eat shit
I'm superstitious.
and die.
You know, I like to keep it going, right? I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going. So that's a big story. We just announced today.
Let me ask this soldier here, this black guy. What the fuck are you applauding about? And this guy underneath him. Yay! We're the renaming of bases for traitors who held my ancestors in chains and would gladly put me back in chains. What are you applauding about, you ignoramus? You stupid, ignorant worm.
Going. So that's a big story. We just announced that today to you for the first time. They said, why didn't you wait till Saturday? I said, I can't wait.
I gotta take a shit now. I gotta shit. I can't wait. I gotta stink up the air. I can't hold it any longer. I gotta stink up the fucking country more. Like a big, like a turd. I gotta stink it up. I can't hold it in. You traitorous. Unbelievable. Now, here's the thing. The filthy fascist, Republicans. Now, when Traitor Trump's first maladministration, there was a commission that went on, and I read all about it. It's something that actually makes America great. But they removed Confederate statues and the names. These were all done by military veterans and slash historians who understood the importance of naming things after people who didn't take up arms against the United States. That actually matters. That says a lot about you as a person, as a country, what kind of country you're trying to be. And this commission took time, and it was thoughtful, and it was a bipartisan effort, believe it or not. And then it passed through an act of Congress, which went to Traitor Trump's desk. And he vetoed it. But you know what happened? That veto was overridden by the Congress in a very surprising bipartisan move. So, and then because the country was also involved, the constituents had their say, and they said, yeah, overwhelmingly, we shouldn't name shit after traitors. Enough is enough. And I'm trying to look up, let's see, Confederate. It was, I'm just trying to look up the stats. What were the stats of Americans who wanted the bases renamed? And they did. Okay, so now, but you know what he's doing? Here's the thing. Because he's a baboon. He can't just rename the bases. Did you know that? He can't. There's something in the act that says, you can't name these bases after these fucking traitors again. If you, don't get cheeky, motherfucker. But someone, I guess a maggot, probably Stephen Miller, the Nazi Jew, he said, hey, don't name him after this traitor. Name him after that traitor. So it's not going to be Robert E. Lee. It'll be, Maggot G. Lee. Another somebody named Lee. Just find some other fucking piece of shit that with the last name Lee. And we'll call it Fort Lee. But if anybody asks, everybody will think it's Lee, the traitor who betrayed his oath to the Constitution and took up arms against his fellow countrymen, the slave owner, the scumbag. But it will be, Maggot G. Lee. 65% of officers in the military were in favor of renaming the bases. Half of all troops supported the renaming, and a majority favored banning Confederate symbols from the Defense Department locations. Most national polls showed that the majority of Americans opposed the bases being named after Confederate leaders. And a poll, ABC News Ipsos poll, said that nearly 60% of Americans supported the move. Unreal. 2/3, listen to this, Black Americans, about 2/3 supported renaming the Confederate bases. Just 2/3? Wow. Guess, as opposed to, listen to this, shame. 32% of white Americans supported the renaming of the bases. Well, that's why maggots are waging war against anyone who's not white. DEI. Because they want their shitty ass country, their shit country. No, 65% wanted to rename the bases, Jim. Well, only 65, right? Is scary. 65% of officers. Majority of officers, and only half of the troops, because they're fucking, pulled from every stupid corner of the stupid country. And probably a lot of maggots, because they're there because they're poor and stupid, and they have no opportunity otherwise in their poorly run red state. So, of course, younger Americans were more likely to support the renaming. But, that in itself, too, is a result of the lack of education and the lack of Democrats, helping to spread the fucking truth about Republicans. Yeah, so Braxton Bragg is universally regarded as the worst Confederate general. He was responsible for multiple disastrous defeats and the needless loss of thousands of Southern soldiers. Well, needless death is the Republican brand. It is the conservative way. His leadership style was described as vindictive, contrary, and deceitful, causing deep divisions and dysfunction within the Confederate command structure. Even after being relieved of field command due to incompetence, Bragg was given a high-level advisory role where he continued to be ineffective. All right, guys, that's the end of the show. Well, we'll do a little bit more show just to finish this up. I'm just going to lower this, but we will win. If anybody can become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Thank you. If you do, we will win. We will win. We will win. Because you should be, really should be supporting the independent liberal media. Like me. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Watch the Tara Show, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, every Tuesday and Thursday with myself and Tara Dublin. It's a great time. And Jim is also the moderator over there. So you'll be among friends, including myself. Okay, yeah, let's see. Hood. John Bell Hood, reckless aggression. His reckless aggression led to catastrophic losses for the Confederacy. Well, which is good. This is like when I read something like that, it must be like when Putin reads about what Trump is doing. I'm like, oh, hey, good. Hood's reckless aggression led to catastrophic losses for the Confederacy. Good. Particularly during the Atlanta campaign and the battles of Franklin and Nashville. His decisions decimated the Army of Tennessee. Good. And contributed directly to the collapse of Confederate defenses in the Western Theater. Well, good. I'm really getting a glimpse into what Putin feels like. Oh my God, what the F dad shoes? Thank you. Yes, we will win. We will win. How long have I been saying that? Thank you for your super chat. WTF Dad Shoes. I like that name. What the fuck, Dad Shoes? Thank you. We will win. We will, because we're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Really. The arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. That is all true. Republicans, this fascism, it never ends well. They're not going to win. But how long it takes. Let's see. Hold on a second. Where was I? Yeah, Hood. Hood is often cited as a textbook example of how poor judgment and disregard for soldiers' lives can destroy an army. Doesn't that sound like Trump in the whole United States? Poor judgment and disregard for lives? That's a Republican mantra. Of course, George Pickett's most infamous moment was Pickett's charge at Gettysburg, a futile frontal assault that resulted in massive Confederate casualties and is widely regarded as one of the war's greatest blunders. Later, at the Battle of Five Forks, Pickett was absent from his command, attending a shad bake. What the hell is that? Which contributed to a critical Confederate defeat. He was publicly scolded by Lee for his negligence. And Robert E. Lee, although a skilled tactician, he actively supported the Confederacy's cause to maintain slavery. Of course he did. And personally held hundreds of enslaved people. Of course he supported that. That's why he joined on. The fucking vice president of the Confederacy, Stevens, wrote the famous cornerstone speech, which said that the cornerstone of the Confederacy was built on slavery, that the notion that the white man is superior to the black man. That's what it says. So don't anyone ever, I'm not you guys, but the maggots. It was about states' rights. Oh, remember who was that? We played that video. Was that Noam? Oh no, that was Nikki Haley. Oh, remember her? Where's she been? The Civil War was about, people who wanted to do what they wanted to do. She refused to say that it was slavery. Somebody asked her, what was the cause of the Civil War? Well, you know, it was states' rights, and people wanted to do what they wanted to do. This country is so fucked up when Republicans are in power, isn't it? Republicans just don't. They are unfit. Come on, guys. Hear me out. Of course, Robert E. Lee, he refused to include black Union soldiers in prisoner exchanges and allowed his troops to kidnap free black farmers and sell them into slavery. What a piece of shit. That's who that black soldier is cheering for. Yay! I hope they just invite him to they just invite him from Thanksgiving or any other thing. His mother should be appalled. Lee called the Emancipation Proclamation a savage and brutal policy and only reluctantly supported enlisting enslaved people in the Confederate Army because of, they were losing. Well, I guess we could throw this meat into the grinder. But they're black. But they have skin tone that's darker. That's just the worst. Right? I mean, it's so fucking stupid. These people are so stupid. Their skin tone. If only we could say, like, somebody with orange skin is the worst, right? Well, we can say it, but, that's the telltale sign. Who puts orange makeup on their face like that? And, I was listening to Mike Malloy the other day, and he was talking about Traitor Trump's hands. He never puts orange on his hands. Even here, look at that. His hands are like Casper the goddamn Ghost's hands. It's like wearing white fucking Mickey Mouse gloves. Looks like a dumb bitch. Nathan Bedford Forrest, notorious for his brutality, including the massacre of surrendered black Union troops at Fort Pillow, a war crime that shocked the nation. What happened? Did they execute that fuck? I'm sure they didn't, right? Did he? I want to find out. Did he? Let's see. They should have. Was Forrest executed for that? No, he was not. He died of complications from diabetes. This is what I'm talking about. Letting these traitors walk free. That's why we're here. He died of diabetes on October 29th, 1877. So 10 years, nearly over 10 years after the war, he died of natural causes, so to speak. Piece of shit. Despite his notorious role in the Fort Pillow massacre, where troops were slaughtered while surrendering, and was widely regarded as a war crime in its day. Forrest was never tried or punished for these actions. Instead, he returned to civilian life and became the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. That's what you get. That's what you get for letting conservatives off the hook. You see what I'm saying? It never ends well. We get, it bites us in the ass. Son of a bitch. Yeah, oh well. So that whole process, what a joke. We gotta stop this. Okay, listen, I gotta go. I'm very tired. Yes, well, before I do go, I just want to say that Republicans hate America, and they hate veterans, they hate the troops. The Trump administration, I just asked the AI all the ways that the Republicans hate veterans and hate the troops. Of course, the big, beautiful bill. The Trump administration and House Republicans have led sweeping federal workforce reductions, resulting in the firing of thousands of veterans from federal jobs. Veterans make up nearly 30% of the federal workforce. Well, they're useless eaters. See, that's the chainsaw when that fucker danced around. This is the chainsaw of bureaucracy. He was slitting veterans' throats. So these cuts have disproportionately harmed veterans, and the Department of Veterans Affairs has been targeted for mass layoffs. They plan to eliminate 83,000 employees. So, keep clapping, stupids. Keep wearing those maggot hats, buying that merch on the base. How dare they? How dare the chain of command? Of course, there will be no repercussions for the behavior of those soldiers, for the disgraceful, dishonorable behavior. All right. What a traitor. What a bunch of traitors. Fucking disgrace to their uniforms. And they should, and when we get this country back from them, all of those officers or non-commissioned officers that allowed that, they need to be demoted and discharged from the Army. That's for sure. Yes, they do. How dare they? How dare they shout and jeer and bray and wheeze? Boo! Booing the press? You fucking traitors? Booing a democratically elected governor? Yeah. How dare you? There was nothing. Nothing was done. Several officers at Fort Bragg, speaking anonymously to avoid retaliation, expressed concern and embarrassment over the partisan display. One commander called it shameful, and another a bad week for the Army and anyone who cares about us being a neutral institution. This officer did not expect any disciplinary action, but hoped the incident would serve as a learning experience to reinforce the importance of military neutrality. Well, it won't. What it'll do, it will reduce trust in the military. Of course, some normal people, retired Army Lieutenant General Russell Honore publicly condemned the event, calling the speech and the troops' reactions inappropriate, and noting he had never witnessed anything like that in his 37 years in uniform. He and other experts warned that such incidents risked normalizing partisan behavior in the ranks and undermined the military's nonpartisan ethic. The Pentagon and the Defense Department leadership have directly avoided condemning the troops' partisan behavior. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell dismissed the media's inquiries as a disgraceful attempt to ruin the lives of young soldiers. And claimed, listen to this, claimed no one needs to be encouraged to boo the media. You see what happens when you let parasites into your body politic? When you let maggots into your body politic, no one needs to be encouraged to boo the media? Fuck you, Sean Parnell. You traitor. Oh my God. The Pentagon official, now this is who's in charge though. The maggots are in charge at the Pentagon now. They officially stated there will be no disciplined because there was no breach of the uniform code. Uniform code. Might as well be the unicorn code of military justice. No? There are actual statutes in the uniform code of military justice that say that you should not, there's disciplinary action can be taken if you attend a rally in a uniform, if you act in a partisan manner while in uniform. Field manuals, regulations that say the Army must be a nonpartisan entity and appear as such to maintain the public trust. Unreal. You scums. Everything that they've touched, they've destroyed. And they're not done yet. They are not done. All right, guys, but I'm done for the night. Not for good, but next time check out the Political Voices Substack, please. Go to politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Sign up for my Substack. I'm doing a lot of writing, a lot of videos. And then the Tara Show with myself and Tara Dublin, TNT, on Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And Thursday, yeah, I said that, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tuesday and Thursdays, I can't talk. I'm very tired. And thank you, Jim, for being a moderator. Thank you, Redfoot, for being a moderator. And thank you, Michael, for your super chat. And WTF Dad Shoes for your super chat. All right, guys, we will win. We will win. Hopefully, we'll talk about a very successful No King's Day on Saturday. And, that will be the beginning of the end of Traitor Trump. Legally and peacefully. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Become a patron. Where's my stuff? Wait a minute. Ecamm. Where's my Ecamm? Let me close this window. Put this over here, over there. Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. We will win. We stick together, we win. Guys, stay safe. Don't fall into the political provocateurs at the rally, at the No Kings rally. Remember to bring your American flag. Okay? No Mexican flags, no Palestinian flags. Save that for different days. We need American flags. We're taking the American flag back. We stick together. We win. I will see you. I'll see you very soon. Stay safe.